Ed Kratz. John, a couple other comments that we got to talk about is the defensive line. We talked a little bit about Phillips at the open. D-line, Davis and Ojomo entering the final year of the rookie deal. Carter and Smith eligible for their extensions. Howie talked about it. What did you make of it? I can read a quote here from Howie. Everything that we're trying to do here is build sustained success. You've got to draft well, and then hopefully you're re-signing and extending your own players, and you're sprinkling on top additions. We have a lot of good players here that are going to come up this year, next year, and we're going to try and keep as many as we can, understanding that there's probably not a scenario where every single one of them can stay here. So there's an off-ramp for some of these players, but also an on-ramp that they're going to sign some of these guys. What's your comment? What's the John McMullen view of that comment from Howie Roseman?
Going to pump up Earth 365. You already knew that if you listen to this show. So listen to the show is my advice. But yeah, I mean, that's their drafts. We talked about yesterday with Jeff Kerr. Their drafts have been unbelievable. Basically dating back to 2021, I'd go back to 20 because that's when they got Jalen Hurts, but that was also the Jalen Reagor draft, so you can't factor that in. Yeah, they've been unbelievable. And now you have some of these guys, and you just mentioned some of those names. Like, Moro Ojomo's turned into at worst, because he's a pass rusher, a $15 million.
That's exactly what I was going to say, $15 million, yep.
And Jordan Davis you get him a little bit cheaper because he's a run stopper, but he's a $15 million player. Jalen Carter, $30 million, but again, there's some complications because of the shoulders and the persistent pain. Nolan Smith, 15, again, similar. Jalex Hunt down the road. I mean, they got to pay and we're not even getting to the secondary with Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. And then you start talking about Nakobe Dean, and like, how is Nakobe Dean going to be back? How? I wish he'd be back, but I just can't see it. And then the market will determine Reed Blankenship. Like, you have to pay so many players. And I didn't even get to Jaelan Phillips. Yeah. Cost of drafting well. But you'd rather be in that position than. And they have to use some time. They have to use some time. Like with Nolan Smith, I mean, he's going to have to wait. He's just going to have to wait. Jalen Carter might even have to wait. And then, maybe things become more clear. Guys continue to ascend. Guys go down. And a lot of things can happen. But, yeah, you can't keep all of them. You cannot keep all of them. It's just not possible.
I agree with
cap
you,
world.
And John, so if I can't speak to what the Eagles think about this, but let's just assume, Howie has identified that one of them is not going to be a long-term guy, whether it be Moro or it be Nolan or whoever you think it might be. You think they would look to trade one of those guys this year?
I don't think so, because they want to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
But, at the trade deadline, things are not going well with the new systems, and maybe. But right now, I would say no. Similar to Tanner McKee. I mean, on the offensive side, a lot of people speculating about a Jets trade, because a couple people mentioned that. You got to get a backup, dude. What do you get? You want to get more expensive? Like, the goal is to never, have Tanner McKee play, to be honest, because Jalen's healthy and Jalen's playing at a high level, and you don't need him. But you do need that insurance policy. Or otherwise you're seeing. So who's the backup quarterback if you trade Tanner McKee? You say, well, sign so-and-so. Well, if you sign a veteran, he's going to be more expensive than Tanner McKee. The whole point of this is the cost-effective nature of it. So you might have to, and look, and the Jets could always bowl you over with a second-round pick. That could change things. But if it's more if it's like a fourth-round pick, something like that, yeah, I'm not trading him because I'm trying to win the Super Bowl, and I need that insurance policy. Again, if he has to play 17 games, you're not going to the Super Bowl. But if he's got to win a game or two in the middle of the season because Jalen sprained his ankle or whatever, you want to have that guy in the lineup. So when you talk about trading Nolan Smith or Moro Ojomo, well, you're taking away from a Super Bowl contender. So I would say no. And things can change at the trade deadline. So in season, if things are not going well, as I said, then maybe it's a conversation. But not now. Maybe Nolan Smith. But, you got to get Jaelan Phillips.
Yeah.
Because of all those players, of all those players you mentioned, because I think Jalex has surpassed him. I don't know that for a fact, but I think from an upside standpoint, he's got a bigger upside. He's healthier. I would bet on Jalex Hunt more than Nolan Smith, but that's me. Maybe you try to get something for him, but you'd have to. Are you signing Jalen Phillips? Maybe you bring Brandon Graham back? Everybody's talking about that. He wants to play, certainly. And he can play, and he can still play at a high level. He's proven with limited snaps, but that's all you need from your fourth guy. So, maybe an outside chance of him, but everybody else, you got to run it out, man. And then you get the compensatory pick, how he'll play the game right. And if Moro gets 20 million and you lose him, which you're probably going to lose him, then you got to wait a year, but at least you get the high level comp pick.
Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Good comment on that with Jaelan Phillips also around the corner, as you mentioned. It's a tough one. Tough needle to thread if you're Howie Roseman on all this stuff. So good stuff, John. I wanted to wait to bring up AJ.